how the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
So everything is falling down for you guys because people perceive you as bullies.
Blake Lively's lawyer just walked away from this disaster, unable to handle the embarrassment. Justin Baldoni's lawyer dropped evidence so damning, it made Blake's legal team question every decision they ever made.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
1 minute, Blake's playing the victim. Next, her own defense ditches her faster than you can say legal meltdown. And let's be real, when your own lawyer gives up on you, that's not just trouble. That's game over.
Gonna have to be a full-blown, I am sorry, I lied, I am a terrible person, tail in between the legs, and that's what we deserve.
Imagine filing the most absurd lawsuit of your life, making wild claims, playing the victim, and twisting the media to make yourself look helpless. And then, boom, your own lawyer says, yeah, no thanks, I'm out. Blake's attorney, Merle Conan, quit after Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, dropped an opposition so brutal that even the best PR spin couldn't fix it. And let's be real, no one blames Conan for bailing. Blake's case was already a sinking ship, and Conan wasn't about to go down with it.
Just kind of had her down to a prototype and said, I'm going to pump the brakes and see what happens. And then when Brian Friedman came back with the facts, they were just undeniable. It was undeniable.
And here's where it gets wild. The real chaos erupted when Baldoni's team casually dropped 170 pages of pure receipts. Not just a few texts, not some he said, she said. No, a full-on 170-page document packed with emails, messages, and hard facts that tore Blake's claims to pieces.
Then they publish 170 pages of perfectly documented texts and emails between all the parties that basically show Blake to be the aggressor. Here's the proof.
Every claim she made, gone. Vanished, ripped apart piece by piece, and watching her team scramble after that, absolutely priceless.
That's the whole point of a lawsuit, is you just start with allegations, and allegations are not evidence. They're just statements of fact that help establish this is the claim that I'm bringing.
Blake's PR team, they're barely hanging on. You can almost hear the panic in their offices. The same team that was busy spinning headlines to make her Hollywood's biggest victim is now watching it all fall apart, fast.
You guys were complicit here. You guys were involved in this every step of the way.
Those glowing headlines vanished the moment the truth came out. Mainstream media? Silent. Even Hollywood insiders are warning her. This is the end. They're watching Blake spiral, and no one's stepping in to save her.
It was monstrous what she did, and she's got to pay for it.
Live birth porn.
$650 million in lawsuits hanging over Blake like a ticking time bomb. And the best part? Her own team has finally realized she doesn't stand a chance.
Most people cannot afford, even if he was worth a certain amount, cannot afford $100 million. And then when you attach penalties and you add interest and all of these things, it is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare for them.
And that brings us to Merle Conan, the lawyer who probably woke up one morning, took one look at the mess, and thought, yeah, I'm not about to risk my career defending this circus. And honestly, who could blame her? From the start, this lawsuit wasn't based on facts. It was nothing but smoke and mirrors.
I knew a bit about her. I knew how she grew up. I knew that she kind of was one of these people. What tends to be the case is that when you grow up with everything, you create things out of nothing because you're looking for struggle in your life and you're used to getting whatever it is that you want.
There was no credible proof of harassment, no documents to back up the body-shaming claims, not a single piece of evidence regarding breastfeeding issues, just loud, dramatic accusations with nothing solid behind them. It's like Blake pulled a script straight out of her Gossip Girl days and forgot that real life actually needs evidence. Brian Friedman didn't just casually file his opposition, he buried Blake's entire case with hard legal facts. He exposed how her team wasn't leaning on actual proof, but instead relying on PR media headlines and a desperate sob story.
I looked through every document, every email, every text message.
And when the other side came in swinging with solid facts, the lawyer could see the writing on the wall. Quitting was her only way out before she went down with Blake's sinking ship. But here's where it gets even juicier. Let's talk about how Blake's PR team thought they could pull off the ultimate magic trick.
This filing is pure comedy and insanity. It literally contradicts itself, and it's not even admissible because of certain things that are in there.
Remember that infamous December 2024 article from the New York Times? Yeah, Blake's PR team pushed that narrative like their careers were on the line. They used the Times to paint Baldoni as the villain, playing the classic Hollywood victim card. But fast forward to now, and guess what? That strategy didn't age well. Baldoni's team completely dismantled the narrative, showing how the media fell right into Blake's trap without fact-checking a single thing.
Everything, and it really was quite horrific because you just go, what kind of a monster even goes through with this CRD filing? Like, they're basically bullying him again in the lawsuit.
Now, the same PR team that thought they were in control is scrambling in full panic mode. And if you thought they were just spin doctors, think again. PR manager Leslie Sloan, the mastermind behind Blake's image, is also named in Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit.
We know Justin Baldoni is suing him, Blake Lively, and their PR person, Leslie Sloan, for $400 million.
Yes, the very team hired to protect Blake's public image has now become a legal liability. I mean, how badly do you have to mess up for your PR team to end up in a lawsuit? And here's where it gets even better. Now that discovery is underway, the PR team's dirty laundry is at serious risk of being exposed. Confidential texts, shady backroom conversations, all those carefully crafted media campaigns. They're all sitting there, ready to be revealed. Baldoni's team isn't playing nice anymore, they're dropping receipts, and Blake's team can't stop it. The more they try to control the damage, the bigger it blows up in their faces.
But it looks as though she's a narcissist, like an actual diagnosed narcissist.
What's truly hilarious is how they spent all their time trying to control the media narrative, thinking they were untouchable. But here's the reality. Courts don't care about PR spins, they care about cold, hard evidence. And right now, Blake has absolutely none. Her lawyer knows it, her PR team knows it, Hollywood knows it, and the public definitely knows it. All that's left is Blake standing there, watching her entire fake story crumble to pieces.
Do not believe Blake Lively is that, but again, you can clearly see, in my opinion, the narcissism at bare minimum that's going on with her.
Can we just take a moment to talk about how everyone, and I mean everyone, is finally trying to make Blake see reason? Her lawyer's out, the media's gone silent, and insiders are quietly saying she's done for. Even her PR team looks like they're ready to quit and find new careers. But Blake? She's still acting like she's got a chance. At this point, the only person who believes Blake still has a shot is Blake herself, and that's honestly the saddest part.
Yeah, and again, at the same time, Nathan assembled a team that could dominate social media through full social account takedowns by starting threads of theories and,
Hold that thought.
here we go, generally working to change the narrative. So it's impossible to know how much they planted and how much of it originated organically. Well, wait a minute.
She's holding on to this lawsuit like it's her last-ditch power move, when in reality, it's the anchor pulling her under. Hollywood doesn't have time for someone who tried to manipulate the system, got caught, and now wants to play the victim when everything backfires.
Where this money is. This isn't like who has the cash for this type of lawsuit.
Let's not forget, this entire disaster didn't happen overnight. It took Blake's team months of media manipulation, desperate PR stunts, and terrible legal advice to get to this point. But the moment Brian Friedman dropped the receipts, the whole thing came crashing down.
Every uncomfortable moment, we felt it. Well, now they could do the same thing. You know,
Right.
Brian Friedman could say, here, exactly. Okay, you want to do a settlement? Here it is. We're going to write, you are sick people who tried to take over my movie and crush a little peanut like me just because I'm a man bun wearing, soft, beautiful soul.
Blake Lively really thought she had the media wrapped around her perfectly manicured finger, didn't she? For a brief moment, it actually worked. That shiny New York Times article titled "We Can Bury Anyone" had her feeling untouchable, like she was on top of the world. The piece practically worshipped her, presenting every one of her wild accusations against Justin Baldoni as undeniable truth. Honestly, the Times might as well have stamped it certified Blake Lively victimhood. But too bad for Blake. That fairy tale came crashing down faster than she could imagine.
Skinned outrage, essentially, over us bullying you. That doesn't make you look good on paper. It doesn't make you look good in the court of public opinion. It makes you look like what you actually are, which are a bunch of bullies who think they can get away with everything.
Because Brian Friedman wasn't here to play games, his legal response didn't just poke holes in the Times article, it shredded it completely. He straight up accused the Times of violating fair report privilege, which basically means they crossed the line from reporting to actively promoting Blake's fabricated story. Instead of just saying, Blake Lively alleges XYZ, they framed it like they had done some deep investigative work, confirming every bit of her nonsense. The problem? They had zero proof to back it up. Friedman called them out for turning Blake's lies into supposed facts. And honestly, it's poetic justice.
Used to replace what his name is, Brian Tyler, the composer on the movie. Well, Taylor Swift is not going to give you this unless we get what we want. She wants this credit. She wants this credit. She wants her edit.
And now, media outlets are in full panic mode, scrambling, desperate, afraid they'll be the next to get pulled into this legal disaster. Judge Lyman even hinted at tossing the NT from the case entirely, suggesting their so-called journalistic masterpiece might be nothing more than trash. Let's not forget, the New York Times was Blake's safety net, her PR shield, her ultimate backup plan. But now, it's barely holding on, one ruling away from crumbling completely. If that happens, she's on her own. No flashy headlines, no carefully crafted sympathy pieces, just the harsh, unfiltered reality of the courtroom.
Look, there's a lot of factual determinations that need to be made here, not legal determinations. And because there's factual determinations, you got to leave it to the jury. You got to give the jury the property.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're just saying, look, just let the facts decide. And the trier of fact in any case is going to be the jury. Unless it's a bench trial, then it's a judge. But this is not. This is a jury trial.
Even Lady C and half of Hollywood's critics have stopped playing along. They've called out Blake and the Times for stomping all over journalistic ethics. Running a PR machine is one thing, but turning one of the world's most powerful newspapers into a tool for a fake victim narrative, that's a whole new level of disgrace.
Making a factual assertion that these people did something, seizing on it and amplifying it.
And Lady C didn't mince words. She straight up exposed the entire media circus for acting as Blake's personal propaganda machine. But now, with Friedman's bombshell tearing apart the NT's credibility, Blake's media shield is gone. She thought she was taking down Baldoni, but in the end, she only dug her own grave.
There's 5 other claims. He's got extortion, he's got false light, and everything immediately falls apart there. But I'm saying even that was ill-advisable. I would not have said, quote unquote, hurt feelings and saying, like, they're basically bullying him again in the lawsuit.
But wait, it gets even juicier. Just when it seemed like Blake's legal team couldn't mess up any worse, her new lawyer casually throws her under the bus in court filings. That's right. Her own attorney openly admitted that Blake Lively struggles with serious mental health issues.
Blake Lively fears profound mental health issues are at risk of being leaked amid Justin Baldoni legal drama.
Yeah, you heard that right. Her own defense just let the truth slip. Instead of strengthening her case, they've basically exposed her for everyone to see. At this point, it's less of a legal strategy and more of an unintentional confession. And honestly, no one's even shocked anymore.
It's just almost unbelievable that her lawyer would file this. I don't understand why he would put this out there. It's just very bizarre. There's a lot of things that he could have talked about.
So now, Blake's team is scrambling, pleading with the court for an attorney's eyes only protective order. Why? Because they're desperate to bury all the explosive, damaging details, especially the ones about her mental health and personal security. I mean, if there's nothing to hide, why the frantic rush to keep it all under lock and key?
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are moving to protect their text messages and sensitive data amid their legal battle with Justin Baldoni. The couple has filed a request to keep their texts with high-profile people confidential.
Oh, right, because those mental health struggles might explain why Blake's been acting like a complete disaster, paranoid, desperate for control, cooking up wild stories, spinning the media into her personal defense team.
But to reveal that your client has profound mental health issues is very alarming because, we all have mental health.
It's giving major Amber Heard vibes. People are already speculating. Narcissism, personality disorders, classic manipulative behavior. And honestly, you don't need a psychology degree to see the pattern.
And now let me just say this. Having a mental health disorder does not excuse you in any way from what you're doing. And in fact, I personally believe that Ryan Reynolds is not only a narcissist, but I believe he is a psychopath.
Blake's whole victim act screams desperation, grasping at straws while everything crumbles around her. Even Judge Lyman seems skeptical of these endless protective order requests, probably wondering, are they really trying to safeguard sensitive info, or just racing to bury all the skeletons in Blake's closet before discovery drags them into the spotlight?
Is Blake Lively diagnosed with something that could actually affect this case and actually explain why she's the way she is? And when I say mental health, we're not talking about like, something that is really serious.
But wait, here comes the real bombshell. The ultimate sign of Blake's public downfall? Her marriage to Ryan Reynolds is hanging by a thread. And this isn't just tabloid gossip. Multiple verified sources confirm that these two aren't even living under the same roof anymore.
I found out how much Ryan Reynolds is worth, and he cannot afford this lawsuit.
Separate households, separate lives, and all those adorable red carpet moments, pure PR smoke and mirrors. According to Us Weekly, insiders reveal that Blake and Ryan have their ups and downs. Translation: the cracks are showing and behind. Closed doors, things are getting messy. Honestly, it wouldn't be shocking if that's the direction this heads. But I have to admit, the arguments in this opposition were surprisingly strong.
Wouldn't surprise me if that's what we see, but I do have to say that the arguments in this opposition were really good.
Think about it. This lawsuit isn't just wrecking Blake's career, it's pulling Ryan down with her. Hollywood insiders are already whispering the big D word, divorce. And honestly, at this point, it wouldn't be the least bit surprising.
Inside Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' relationship amid their legal battle. Good days and bad days. Are these two headed for divorce?
The guy's out here filing ridiculous motions to dismiss, standing by a lawsuit that's already been exposed as a complete joke, all while their reputations take a nosedive. You can practically feel the tension every time they put on a United. Front for the cameras. It's so painfully forced. You'd need a chisel to break through the awkwardness.
What could be ruined? You might be a little embarrassed, but to ruin a career, there has to be some level of fraud.
Oh, and if you think it's just the media pulling away, take a look at Blake's inner circle. Her once rock-solid friendships are crumbling just as fast as her legal case. Even her bestie, Taylor Swift, is quietly stepping back. That bond is beyond strained after Blake dragged Taylor's name into the chaos. Remember when Blake tried to use Taylor to pressure Baldoni on set? Yeah, well, turns out Taylor isn't too happy about being roped into Blake's self-inflicted disaster.
They've got you on this extortion. His argument is so weak. He's basically saying, well, I didn't receive any money. And it's like, buddy, extortion is a lot bigger than that.
And let's not forget Anna Kendrick. She and Blake may have reunited for their movie promo, but the energy? Total awkward city. Anna couldn't even fake being comfortable around her. Every interview, she's giving the bare minimum while Blake desperately tries to keep up appearances. At this point, everyone in Blake's circle is either walking away or just barely tolerating her. She's burning bridges faster than she can rebuild them.
Without question, I really do think she's just a spoiled brat. Like, it just goes down to something that simple. She's a spoiled brat, and she's used to getting what she wants from a time that she was a kid. And this is what she wanted, and I do think that people have not pieced together.
At this point, her entire world is a ticking time bomb. Lawsuit drama, PR nightmares, legal losses, media turning against her, mental health revelations, and now a marriage on the verge of collapse, all unfolding in real time. Blake wanted control so badly. She manipulated the media, pulled every string, and played the ultimate victim. But instead of winning, she's watching her carefully crafted image shatter before her eyes. And the worst part? No one's sticking around to catch her when she falls.
I believe this is probably related to personality disorders. A lot of people have pointed out that Blake Lively, there's a lot of experts that are reading it, and of course no one can give a diagnosis, but it looks as though she's a narcissist.
Ryan Reynolds might be all smiles for the cameras, but behind the scenes, it's a different story. A $400 million lawsuit hanging over him, zero public sympathy, a marriage on the brink, and no escape in sight. The only thing Blake Lively's lawsuit has accomplished is turning her entire life, her career, marriage, and media image into a full-blown disaster. And the worst part? It's only spiraling further out of control.
There's going to be a lot stronger defamation claims against Ryan Reynolds.
Now, let's talk about the part that's really making Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds panic. The money. Oh yeah, the cold hard cash. Because if you thought the public humiliation, lawyer walkouts, media backlash, and crumbling marriage were bad enough, the financial disaster heading their way is next level. Justin Baldoni isn't messing around. He just hit them with a $400 million lawsuit, and it's about to get brutal.
In terms of how you're presenting yourself to the public and who you are in private.
And just when you think, well, maybe they can scrape that together, guess what? There's another $250 million lawsuit, this one aimed at the New York Times, but dragging them in by association. That brings the grand total to a staggering $650 million hanging over their heads like a financial nuke. And that's not even counting court fees, legal penalties, damages, and interest piling up like a never-ending bad loan.
So this filing to dismiss is essentially him saying like, nah, boo-boo, I'm a defamation claim, you can't touch me, because it's satire.
Here's the real kicker. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively love to flaunt their richest couple in Hollywood image, strutting around like they're practically swimming in billions.
Ryan Reynolds is a billionaire or close to a billionaire. But according to several reports, he is not. And this all ties back into a soccer club.
But take a peek behind the curtain and surprise, Ryan's net worth hovers somewhere between $350 to $400 million. And Blake, let's just say her career has been so stagnant, it's practically on life support. Plus, most of Ryan's wealth isn't even liquid, meaning that billionaire power couple image is looking more like a well-crafted illusion.
I personally believe that Ryan Reynolds is not only a narcissist, but I believe he is a psycho.
It's all tied up in assets like his Wrexham football club, which, by the way, isn't exactly pulling in Premier League cash yet, and future royalties from Deadpool. Translation, he doesn't have a $400 million check just sitting around, ready to hand over. As for Blake, even if she sold every designer dress and handbag she's ever posed in, she still wouldn't come close to covering a fraction of the damages.
Their combined net worth of around $400 million may not be enough to sustain the club at this level. Their combined net worth is what Justin Baldoni is just suing Ryan Reynolds.
The cherry on top, their PR machine has worked overtime selling the world a billionaire fantasy. Untouchable, unbothered, with endless cash pouring in from every direction. But the deeper you dig, the clearer it gets. They cannot afford to lose this case. Not even close. Court fees, fines, legal bills, media damage control, and the permanent stain on their image. It's a financial death spiral. And as for Blake, she's not landing A-list roles anytime soon after this PR disaster, so future earnings? Let's just say bleak is an understatement. They went all in on this carefully crafted illusion, and now they're on the verge of losing everything.
Their reputations are ruined. Who is going to want to work with them, especially as more and more comes out, especially as discovery comes out and depositions? To me, their careers are over.
But don't worry, it gets even messier. Once upon a time, Blake and Ryan strutted through Hollywood like royalty untouchable, with the industry bending over backward to praise them. Not anymore. Now Hollywood has turned its back, and the silence is deafening. Industry insiders are quietly backing away because, let's be real, their careers do depend on it. No one wants to be tied to a sinking ship, and at this point, Blake Lively's name is nothing short of a PR disaster zone.
Reynolds and Lively wanted Wayfair to issue a statement taking the blame for Lively's bad press.
Take Hugh Jackman, for example. Ryan's so-called bromance buddy has completely distanced himself, not a single word of support. That decades-long friendship, suddenly radio silent. And let's not forget Taylor Swift, the industry's golden. Girl, her team has been working overtime to keep her name far, far away from Blake's crumbling disaster.
There's going to be a lot stronger defamation claims against Ryan Reynolds, because could you imagine the text messages between him and Hugh Jackman they're putting together all of these scenes? I mean, it's going to get crazy.
While Taylor's out here promoting albums and touring, the last thing she wants is to be linked to Blake's legal disaster. She's already had to dodge the fallout from Blake trying to use their friendship like a backstage pass to manipulate Baldoni. And Baldoni's legal team, they nailed it, laying out exactly how Blake weaponized media connections, PR influence, and even personal relationships. She played the long game, thinking she could use the industry as her personal shield. But now, it's backfiring spectacularly. No PR stunt can undo this level of damage. Hollywood has finally figured out she's not worth the headache, and they're moving on without her.
I mean, they're all going to have to pay for the associated inconveniences, the travel, the lawyers, if you jack anyone getting deposed who's got to make arrangements for it if they have to get their own lawyers or whatever it is. And here's Ryan, should be looking out for them and not himself.
And here we are, the grand finale, the inevitable downfall of Blake Lively. Let's tally up the damage. Her lawyer jumped ship, unwilling to defend the chaos she's created. Her PR team completely drained, publicly embarrassed, and probably dusting off their resumes. The media checked out. That New York Times bombshell, a total implosion. Supporters, nowhere to be found. Her marriage, hanging by a thread, if there's even a thread left. Then there's the real kicker. Her own lawyer accidentally spilled the truth about her mental health struggles, exposing just how chaotic things have become behind closed doors. And it's not just Hollywood walking away. The public, the media, insiders, and even the legal system are all coming to the same realization. Blake's narrative doesn't hold up. And every desperate PR stunt she pulls only makes things worse. There's no comeback story here, no last-minute twist to save her, no carefully crafted Instagram post that can change reality. This downfall is happening in real time. And Blake is the only one still pretending it's not. Every move she makes buries her deeper. Her media protection is gone, her PR team is out of tricks, and Baldoni's case is rock solid, stacked with evidence. Hollywood already moved on. At this point, it's not about if she loses, it's about when. And judging by how fast this is spiraling, that moment is coming sooner than she ever expected. Her lawyer quit because fiction isn't worth defending. The PR spin failed, the media's done, and Baldoni's sitting comfortably with a mountain of proof. Meanwhile, lawsuits are stacking up to a mind-blowing $650 million disaster. Blake is running out of options, fast. And when your own lawyer and PR team throw in the towel, it's safe to say the game is over. With her empire going up in flames, this legal drama is far from finished. So buckle up, because the next chapter is about to be even messier.